Hello again. This is John Burroughs, and I am going to proceed with podcast number 4. Um, Excited about this one because I actually got a request or a question from a listener, and I'm going to tell you what that question is, and then I want to make a few statements before I give my answer. The question is, if you could teach everyone in the world what concept what concept would have the biggest positive impact on humanity? So before I give you my answer, I want to tell you a few things. I want to tell you what I think, what this question tells me about the listener, first of all. The listener sounds very intelligent, very concerned, very empathetic, and very astute, and like a lot of people in today's world, is worried what the future of humanity is going to be. So I think it's a great question, and also in her request, she was asking what others might think too. So I wanted to make that observation of the listener. The second thing I want to do is I need to make certain assumptions before I can give you my answer to this concept. And those assumptions are simply this. First of all, humanity numbers in the billions, okay? So, I mean, we're all so much different, and there's just a lot of things in the world that makes teaching a concept very possible, but acceptance of that teaching makes it very hard. And what I mean to say is, we seem to be living more and more in a world of hate. We seem to be living more and more in a world of, disagreement. In other words, we can't agree to disagree. And we have to accept the fact that in this world there is evil. There are murderers, there are rapists, there are pedophiles, and there's also people that, unfortunately, due to, not all of them, but due to mental health problems, can't grab the concept itself. So therefore, they really couldn't maybe learn anything from it. Lastly, I want to tell you that I appreciate in the question where she says, if you could teach everyone. So she understands what we're up against in this world. But the last point I want to make is I don't care what program you're going to, what concept you're trying to be taught, whatever it is that you're trying to learn or you're attending for your benefit or the benefit of humanity. Any program is only as good, even if the program is great, it's only as good as the commitment of the student. So if the student is not committed to learning the concept and understanding the concept, then it's not going to have very much impact on that particular student. So let's make some assumptions here. One, let's look at a world that is not completely perfect, but almost perfect. For instance, we don't have murderers, we don't have pedophiles, we don't have that type of thing going on, okay? But we're always going to have problems with equality, problems with who thinks they're right, who thinks they're wrong, those type of things. And what happens in that situation is, for me, I believe right now humanity's on the verge, and when I say on the verge, it could be hundreds of years, but they're on the verge of destroying themselves because they no longer want to live in a world of mediation, in a world of we'll agree to disagree. Let's put it that way. So, once again, I'm going to read the question. If you could teach everyone in the world one concept, what concept would have the biggest impact on humanity? Now remember, we have to make the assumptions that there are people out there that we're not talking about the criminals that make heinous crimes and stuff like that. There's no concept that you can that everyone in humanity would buy into anyway. But for me, originally I thought love, and I said, well, that sounds you know, kind of obvious. Well, first of all, love means a lot different to other people. And we all have different versions or different views of the word love. Then I thought everyone is equal. That'll never happen. We don't think everyone is equal. That's one of the faults of humanity. And I thought of so many things, and I was sitting there because the question uh, I've often thought about in my mind also, what if we could do anything about it, what would be the best thing to do, or the thing that might be accepted by most? And you have to understand, once again, I'm going to keep reiterating this, you have to understand it can't happen in this world or any in the world the way it exists today. In fact, no concept with a big positive impact on humanity can happen today based on the behavior of humanity. So, my concept is live and let live. And what I mean by that is, we all live and share the planet, okay? And there's billions of people in the world, and we all have different beliefs, different religious beliefs. We've all had different influences on our lives, from our teachers to our parents to our friends to our athletic heroes, whomever they may be. But the idea of live and let live, is the only one I could come up with that would have the biggest positive impact on humanity, if it was possible that humanity was totally committed to learning the subject. And live and let live is simply what it sounds like. You may disagree with certain views I have on religion, certain views I have on sports, certain views I have on politics. I mean, you may just disagree with me in general. And there might be people that disagree with you in general. That's always going to happen. We're just too diverse of species for that to be impossible. But what I mean is, by live and let live, is if you do disagree with me, let's say you disagree with me on a political concept, or you disagree with me on a religious concept, or even a sports concept, whatever it is, because you disagree with me doesn't mean I should not listen to your side of the story, or just disrespect what you're trying to say to me, or dislike you because that is how you feel. I should have an open mind, listen to it, and accept the fact that I might not agree with it, but at the same time, it's something that you believe in strongly, and by what right do I have to say that you're not allowed to do that? Okay? So it's basically, if we could all learn how to live and let live, based in that semi-perfect world I mentioned earlier, then that, in my opinion, would have the biggest impact on humanity. Now, some of you may have other opinions. Like I said earlier, I could say love, I could say anything, education, totally equality, but you can have all those things, but if you don't have the ability to let people live the lives the way they want to live their lives and not disrespect them for it, in fact, respect them for it and hope that they return that respect to you. So that's it. It's a real simple concept. Live and let live. And I want to remind you that, first of all, this is the first time I've had any feedback, so I jump for joy. And second of all, the listener that sent the question was asking for feedback from others also. And as I described that person in the beginning, it's obvious she's one of many that's beginning to worry what's happening in our world today. Okay, that's podcast number 4. It's John Burroughs signing off. I'm going to try to be doing this more on a more often basis as I come up with things that really inspire me or things that I really need to get off my mind. Thanks again. I hope to see more listeners this time, and talk to you later.